Good morning. Welcome to Thursday, August 29, 2024 edition of Inside Nigeria. A fresh program today on this Thursday morning for your breakfast show on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ugabo, your host on the program. And on this first segment, we like to review front headline stories of some select newspapers. We have Nigeria's most influential leadership, and of course, as is the norm in the program, we like to flag up with leadership. Leadership's main headline story says internship policy. NYSC rejects HND graduates at orientation camps. Internship policy. NYSC rejects HND graduates at orientation camps. Demands industrial training certificate. Potential corps members stranded as officials court screening. Man cries for help as wife gives birth to 11 babies. The story is on page 8 of Leadership. Man cries for help as wife gives birth to 11 babies. Stakeholders seek review of NACON Act. Kano government closes NDA's accounts. Flood washes away cemetery in Zaria. Moving gradually to the masthead, federal government has to move to avert strike, resume talks. And on the business boss of leadership cover, Shippers Council to end dollar charges at seaports. With that, we move to the stories above the masthead. Abuja Industrial Park to employ 40,000 youths. Wike, the FCT minister. Lastly, federal government plans legal framework to protect whistleblowers. That takes us to the page 3, where we have our stand. Our stand today is on WASC age limit. Again, the easy way out. WASC, W-A-S-S-C-E. That is the West African Secondary School Certificate Examination. WASC age limit. Again, the easy way out. From our stand on page 3, we move to the back page, where we have Being Blunt with Muazu Elize. Today's Being Blunt is on going after Sokoto's nutrition supplement thieves. Going after Sokoto's nutrition supplement thieves. With that, we conclude review of Leadership newspaper. For more, log on to www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, we move to The Guardian. The Guardian says NIN SIM linkage and national security. Fresh anxiety as federal government disconnects 50 million unlinked SIMs September 14. NIN SIM linkage and national security. Fresh anxiety as federal government disconnects 50 million unlinked SIMs September 14. Beneath that main headline story, we have concerns as Abuja photographer spends 10 months in detention over intentional insult. The story is on Metro page 6 of The Guardian. Rest member warns Lagos Labour Party against illegal Congress orders. Beyond the facade, unveiling violence in Nigeria's peaceful presidential elections. Beyond the facade, unveiling violence in Nigeria's, in quote, peaceful presidential elections. Kaduna Bauchi order residents to vacate flood-prone areas. Criminal Justice Act ineffective 7 years after NBA laments. PDP crisis, Bode just advises Atiku to contest presidency in 2031 at 85. PDP crisis, Bode George advises, in quote, Atiku to contest presidency in 2031 at 85. Afenifere seeks regional NYSC enforcement of Terrorism Prohibition Act. Currency in circulation hits 4 trillion naira, defies CBN's monetary tightening measures. NLC threatens indefinite strike as Ajero honors police invitation. With that, we conclude review of front headline stories today on The Guardian. For more, log on to www.guardian.ng. From The Guardian, we move to Daily Sun. Daily Sun's main headline says presidency warns non-state actors, says they will face consequence of actions. Security invitation, NLC president to storm police headquarters with national officials orders. Labour to embark on peaceful prayer procession. You can only contest in 2031, not 2027, Bode George tells Atiku. 16 burned to death, 5 injured in Ondo Road crash. Scores injured as two BRT buses collide in Lagos. The second main headline story on Daily Sun says article hits federal government over under 18 education policy. Banning students from WASC NECO will lead to capital flight done. SPTA chair backs government. Over 31 million Nigerians facing acute food crisis, says government. Eco Disco disconnects Unilag over electricity bill. That takes us to the last story beside the masthead on Daily Sun. Strike, federal government ASU meeting deadlocked, reconvened September 6. With that, also we conclude review of front headline stories on Daily Sun. For more, log on to www.thesun.ng. From Daily Sun, we move to this day. This day's main headline story says NEPC non-oil exports yielded $2.75 billion at half year. CBN survey reveals businesses anticipate lower inflation compared to households. Says rising costs push Nigerians into debt amid optimism. I'll take that once again. The Nigerian Export Promotion Council (NEPC) non-oil exports yielded $2.7 billion at half year. CBN survey reveals businesses anticipate lower inflation compared to households. Says rising costs push Nigerians into debt amid optimism. Up above that main headline story, Duke is wrong, we can screen, confirm acting CJN after swearing in, says Senate. Nigeria's defense chief visits Niger Republic to discuss security collaboration. And above the masthead of this day, whistleblowing policy, federal government recovers over 83 billion naira, $609 million, 5.4 million euros in 6 years. Tinubu to represent bill to National Assembly. With that, also we conclude review of this day front headline stories. For more, log on to www.thisdaylive.com. From this day, Vanguard is the last paper on our menu for review this morning. WASC NAS weighs into age controversy. WASC NAS weighs into age controversy is archaic article. Says federal government acting like military regime. Federal government's declaration unacceptable, draconian, CSOs. It will lead to capital flights done. We'll subject it to public hearing, Senate. We haven't been briefed on the matter, reps. Nigeria, Interpol arrests over 300 members of Black Ass criminal group. South African billionaire Johan Rupe overtakes Dangote as Africa's richest man. Sports, Paris 2024 Paralympic Games, Team Nigeria set to mine gold. Paris 2024 Paralympic Games, Team Nigeria set to mine gold. And the columnist today, Olufasa, writes on the futility of Tinubu's statist and corporatist economic council. That takes us to the stories about the masthead of Vanguard. Energy crisis, marketers seek diesel price reduction to 700 naira per litre. NCC gives September 14 final deadline for named same linkage compliance. Insecurity, bandits, kidnappers, orders should be exterminated. Tinubu. Alleged terrorism financing. NLC president honors police invitation today. With that, also we conclude review of front headline stories on Vanguard. For more, log on to www.vanguardngr.com. From Vanguard, also we also conclude the first half of this segment of the program Inside Nigeria. Don't forget, we have second segment of the program coming in shortly for our guests in the studio. Stay tuned. Yes, welcome back. You're just joining us. The program is Inside Nigeria, reaching your leadership television. My name is Winifred Ubaba, once again, your host on the program. And as usual, I have my Thursday guest with me in the studio. Sitting beside me is a political economist, public affairs analyst, Olamilekan Adefolari. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me. Good morning to have you.
Welcome. Yes, today's headline stories, some two of the papers, and including Nigeria's most influential, have the same trending story as their main, talking about WASC issue. Of course, the federal government, through the Minister of Education, Maman, has already said that the age for enrollment into WASC and NECO should not be under 18, and that has continued to generate controversy in the country. Vanguard leads with it today. NAS weighs into age controversy, and in leadership also we talk about it on the editorial. WASC age limit, again the easy way out. What is actually the easy way out? Because this issue has continued to generate controversy with it. With this WASC enrollment and NECO, we also have the issue of JAMB too, entrance into universities, which is also pegged at 18 years. Is it to be or not to be? Why many are supporting this, many are also saying that the federal government is right on the matter. You cannot actually, an individual has to be matured to enter university because of what it takes.
I think for me, beyond the issue of maturity, beyond the issue of government trying to set this policy, for most of us that had the opportunity to go to public school, you must attain to that age before you eventually enter university or even obtain.
To even start primary school,
exactly,
6
years. Has to be 6
years.
years. So by the time you calculate it, you are getting.
And our parents will even tell us that before you even enter them, when some of them could not even know or their age mate, that they have to use their hand to pass through the head to touch their ear, and if it doesn't, it's okay, you are mature enough to enter school. But what is happening here? Because the situation whereby you see that parents are rushing their children before the age of 3, they're already there, and before university 12, 13, 14, they're about to enter. They are not matured enough.
And for me, what I see some days back, we started looking at this because I was like, ask myself and ask people, I said, what is the motivation behind this pushing the children to go and sit for WAEC at a very low age before 18? We have to look at the motivation. What is motivating people? What is pushing parents to go and say, okay, it is because we adopted a very policy education in Nigeria. They allow children from the age of 3 to start attending school.
And they skip classes. You see that they don't, most children, they don't even attend primary 6.
Exactly.
You see them just from
primary 4, 5, they're out of
sleep, and they just enter secondary school. So, and before you know what is happening, they're already
in university. So the issue is about private policy and education, how we allow private education, particularly private individual, private institutions to come up with their own way of enrolling students or enrolling people into school. And on the other sister platform that I discussed, I said we need to look at the motivation. One of the motivations is to look at how most of them pass through WAEC. A lot of miracle centers have been created. Even though there is this argument that we have genius among our children, I say, okay, fine, we have genius among our children who are very, very intelligent. How many of them do you find out of 100? Get it? But because of the way we have been able to produce A's in our WAEC and NECO, it encourages this kind of thing. So I'm not saying that the students are not doing very well in WAEC at the examination, but there is a motivation behind it. Miracle centers have been created.
Yes.
All these elite private schools, before you know it, what they are using as advertisement is the numbers of A's, numbers of B's, A plus that their students are making. So with that, you can discover that these are one of the motivation factors we need to look at. Then the other aspect is this policy has been in place for many years. Why look at it from the angle of for me, I look at it from the angle of the ruling class and the elite, middle class elite. Ruling class and the middle class are the one pushing that, okay, their children must go out of this particular age and go on. And you know why? The reason is because they already create a platform for them that by the time they finish at the age of 21 for university, they are the ones that will go and work with NMBs. They don't go and work in choice places. So they want to continue to maintain that status quo. And how do they maintain that status quo? It's by ensuring that their students graduate ahead of the poor people. No poor man is even interested in this kind of discussion. It is the middle class and the elite, and they are the one pushing for this to happen.
Exactly. A veteran in the profession, a female veteran, she's also even but presently she's still practicing, narrated in her column how she went to the private university in Abuja to give talks to mass communication students or media students, however, to give them prep talk. And at the end of the day, when she was done, they were asking questions. She asked them, "Oh, which of the media arm will you want to work?" She said she was surprised at the answer she got. That this one said no, it's NNPC. The other one said, of course, these ones children are the children of the elites, the bourgeois. And they said she was shocked at the response she got. That this one said NNPC, this one said SEC, this one said so many other places. So at the end of the day, you begin to wonder that they just went to school, just study that maths, just like what you pointed out. So what can actually be done? Because this one that the Senate said is going to wade into this age controversy. Because at the end of the day, you see that most of these children, they are not matured enough. You see a toddler who is just barely a teenager going to a university. Having to, rough it out with those that are even more mature than him.
Exactly. And there is one argument we need to also not accept. This argument that in development climate and they are in university at the age of it doesn't even happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. So those people pushing the argument, pushing this narrative should just go and sit down. Because for me, what I've discovered, it is the ruling class and the middle class who are pushing for this, who knows that it's an opportunity to always circulate their children and their children into position of authority. The same way we allow the elite and the middle class to push us to go and pass the not too young to run bill. You do know what happened at the end of the day. Young too young to run bill, the objective was to allow people to participate in the poll. But right now, who are the people participating in the election? It is the rich people who have the money to back up their children. The same thing has been happening. Although this thing has been on for a very long time. It's just that federal government just want to correct an impasse. And for me, another understanding is this thing doesn't even apply to private schools. It is majorly public schools. Because the private schools have been producing underage children to go into university for a very long time. But the policy applies to mostly public schools. So they need to understand that fact. But National Assembly way into it is going to be a resolution that is not be binding. May end up become a retreat for people to gather and talk and talk. The resolution will not be binding. Or at the end of the day, they could end up creating an institution to be managing or to be enforcing this kind of law. That's another money that will be wasted one way or the other. So for me, the National Assembly should just allow people to talk. But at the end of the day, the resolution may not be binding. But we should allow this policy to stay because it is the 633 system we are following. And this 633 system will allow those age maturity to come in. But for the private schools, definitely they are not following 633 system. They are not following it. So I think if you want to correct it, it may be very difficult to correct on the part of the private school because most of them are owned by the ruling class.
All right, thank you so much. Still on the issue of education, this is an issue that has lingered for so long. The wedge, the bridge between the HND graduates and the BSc graduates. This is an issue that has lingered for so long, and even in place of employment, you see that they start from a certain level, while graduates from the universities also start from a higher level. And now leadership has the main story on internship policy. NYSC rejects HND graduates at orientation camps.
We expect this to happen for a very long time. Just that NYSC has been carrying on oversight on this particular policy. They have not been following the latter. You go and check the Nigerian Industrial Trust Fund that is giving internship and all this because it is there. It's an act that already been told that this must be the guideline. But it's just over the years we have overlooked that particular policy and we don't practicalize it the way it is protected. If you go to Polytechnic, after your first 2 years program of ND, you're supposed to go for 1 year industrial attachment. Sometimes it could be 6 months, could be 1 year. So with that, it also shows that you have gotten experience. You now come for your HND. So if NYSC is demanding for that certificate, and if NYSC it's not out of place. It's what is required according to the law. But just that they too that have been sleeping for a very long time. Maybe the new DG of NYSC just waking up and say, okay, we need it. And for me, it's not a witch hunt. It's not going to stop anybody from going for NYSC. Just that to certify that you have passed through this and this is what you can offer. And again, I don't know, the university students also go for industrial attachment. Although the one is not that serious like the polytechnic student. But we just hope that at the end of the day, there will be a way to make this very easy for students. It not become another opportunity for people to begin to pay for this internship certificate at Nigerian Industrial Training Fund. That is NTF.
All right, thank you. So another issue also that is also demanding your input is the issue of NYSC. They were scraping out NCE from his skip, and at the end of the day, there was a report yesterday or so that they are going to create another scheme to take care of those graduates. at a time that Nigeria is battling with economic situations, and you now still go and create, that is another homologous amount with staff and everything that you're still going to have to. I mean, why?
For me, it's for us to go back. There is a policy for national education in Nigeria in terms of graduate of NC.
Yes.
They're supposed to be going for their own teaching, teaching assessment or so. I also went through that. I also have an NC certificate. I went through that. You get it, and for 1 year, and you have it, and doesn't require anybody paying you. It's just for you to go for, they call it teaching practice. So what they want to do is to also introduce teaching practice in a way. But for when I heard about the report, I was like, let us even go through. Let us know what they're saying. I have not seen where they are saying they're going to create any agencies for it. But people pushing for it.
Take care of it.
People pushing for it are the ones looking for opportunity to create an agency so they can appoint their ally, their associate, into the DG, into the whatever. But I believe that the current government may not be too settled with it, because they know that currently the Original Panel report is on ground to scrap, to merge, to scrap and to merge some agencies. So this one will not become another conduit pipe for wastage of government resources or public resources. So it's good that we have something like that in place, but we should also remind people that it has been there before. It's just that it has not been well sanctioned in a way that people can really go for it. People like us that went to NC, we went for our teaching practice. We did it for 1 year and we are out. So if people will not say they're going to be going for teaching practice and they'll be paid by government, and we are not paid, nobody paid us. So we should let people know that this has been on, just that they want to make it a little bit more formal so that people can be getting incentive to go for teaching practice. And also encourage people to go into teaching.
All right, thank you so much. That is for that. Now we move over to the Guardian. The goalpost is always being shifted, talking about this name, SIM linkage and national security. However, but many cynics want to say that even with the BVN, we had the BVN, we have the SIM, we have the line, and that has not in any way reduced crime and insecurity in the situation. So what are you? All these things, technology that we have in play, has Nigerians been able to deploy it to its maximum benefit in terms of security, tackling security issues?
When it becomes an insecurity that affects the ruling class, these processes are activated and they get to the root of the problem. But when it comes to the poor people affected by insecurity, they don't get to it. If you understand what I mean. Now, if an elite is affected by maybe as a result of armed robbery, kidnapping, whatever, they activate all these processes, all the interlocking, interrelated networking, whatever. They activate it through the Nigerian police, and they get to the root of the cause. Ask me, how did the DSS arrested the
22
got to rescue the 22 medical students that were kidnapped? It was as a result of following through the process of this networking.
It's something that baffled Nigerians, and were days that they could actually rescue them.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, was it last year when the issue of insecurity came up, and there was a conference on it? Was it the IG? The security people did say that they don't even have tracking device, and one begins to wonder how we are having a situation of insecurity right on our hands so much, and the security police are saying that they don't even have this technology to tackle, to even trace calls. It's something else.
I think for me they have it. They may not have it enough, but they have it. You know why? There is a special unit in the police.
When you have your maybe phone or anything, when you go to report to police, they tell you to give them 50,000 or whatever.
And that's when you go to a DPO, a divisional police station. But when you go to the IG setup security architecture, like the forensic department, like the IDPs, special forces, they have all those things. But these our normal police station, no, they may not have it. Even some state command may not have it, because all of them have to fall back to the force headquarters to get some of those sensitive matters. Because also we also need to understand the human factor about it, because of the wrong use or the abuse of some of those equipment per se by individuals that may be given to. The DSS have it, NI have it, all the security agencies, not that, but it's not enough. They didn't have it to spread it to the local aspect of the security. But when it comes to the top hierarchy of the security architecture, they have it and they make use of it. So, like the case of the basic student that were rescued, it was because of the tracking device they used. The same thing with some other high-ranking kidnapping exercise that the police have been able to buckle. Like the train incident in Kaduna that was also that they arrested the people that were behind. It was as a result of some of these technological advances they deployed. But the issue is that that particular technology is not well spread.
Just about a year after.
A year after. They have to do diligence around it. Exactly. Do diligence around it because they know that it's a high-ranking kidnapping issue.
And that was a situation that lingered for long, because we are a situation whereby the kidnapped victims, we are still with them for how many months? Ranging from up to 6 months. And yet they could not intercept those calls.
Because maybe, although the tactics that the police were using now, let them be collecting the money and they will get them at the bank. And that's what the tactics they use. I think we should go beyond that tactic. And that's what the medical students also work at, because they didn't wait for the kidnappers to collect the money, but they went after them, tracing their phone calls, tracing their steps, and tracing their location, and using the GPRS technology also help them in a way. But that technology that we have in the security, it has not been spread to the local security architecture that we can say, okay, a police station can help you to track your phone that is lost, they can help you to track a missing person. They don't have it. But at the top hierarchy of the security architecture, like the IGP office, they have it. Because that's why I said, most of the security technology that we have, when it comes to the elites being affected, they know how to deploy it.
But one would have expected that that would be at least some of those first line of tracking devices they will have, considering the fact how much has been expended on these security issues, especially starting from the time of the past administration of President Muhammad Buhari, who even then $1 billion was even signed for security issues. And over the years, security has continued to take the largest chunk of the national budget, and you're saying that they don't even have most of these devices.
The reason based on the importation of some of those technology, for us to have it at every area in Nigeria, we need to also devise a means to develop and copy those technology and domicile it and be able to break the genes around it. All tomorrow, Nigeria the federal government of Nigeria is not thinking about how to ensure that when we copy a technology, we should domicile it, we should break it up, and use our scientists to also bring a photocopy of it out. Because for now, if the defense research industries have been able to take up some of these things, they would have produced similar things. After all, they have been producing drone. Although the drone, we don't see them flying, but we can go do better than that. So this kind of technology can be easily produced, and
we even have a satellite.
Exactly. Although the satellite is not image satellite, it's satellite for mapping agricultural prone area, flooding, and weather casting, and those are the satellites. But what I'm trying to say, if we can break some of this technology in a local way, so that we can use that local knowledge to revamp it and we develop it in a way that can be suitable for
our system.
Exactly, we can have it. They are not rocket science. They can be produced by university students who read electronics engineering. They can do it, but just that the government is not paying attention to. And you don't forget that these are procurement exercise in the defense industry. Nobody wants it to be produced locally, so that their contract will stop. Because when it is produced locally, the contract of having contractor bringing arms doing this will stop. That's what they don't want, and it all boils down to the elite ruling class in Nigeria.
What is the way forward? Because September 14 looms now. Before you know what's happening, we have September 14 on our hands. Don't forget, was it last month that the attempt was made by MTN? You saw what happened. That Nigerians, disgruntled Nigerians, even bungled some MTN offices nationwide.
For me, I see another goalpost being carried out again. It's not one of those processes that you say is time bound. It has to be a continuous one. Although we have seen that for 4 years, the goalposts have been shifted. Right from 2020, after the COVID-19, that was when these goalposts of shifting SIM registration started coming in. But we have been shifting it. But the issue still boils down to how we are going to manage some of these data. After harvesting them, how are we going to manage it? Because most of the people that you see that have 2, 3 SIMs, some of them only rely on one. But people like us, we only rely on one now. When MTN shows shaggy, we just have to rely on the local network provider. But what I'm trying to point out is, in as much as this government has stipulated September 14, I'm also foreseeing a shifting of the goalpost, because at the end of the day, Nigerians will intervene, National Assembly will intervene, governors will intervene, everybody will intervene, because it's supposed to be a continuous exercise. But because of the security lapses that come with it, and that's why they are putting a time bound around it.
All right. Thank you so much. Now, talking about, we've been talking about deploying technology to tackle security in the country, and it's so also, would I say, lamentable that even the NBA laments that criminal justice acts ineffective 7 years after, and leadership has always advocated for review of the judicial system.
I think for me, it's not just the judicial review supposed to review. There are about 5 key factors in the justice administration. We have the court, police, prison, the lawyers themselves. They also have the court comprises the judges. Then police, the lawyers, what they call it, the prisons, which is the correctional facilities, as well as including the general public. We are all inclusive in this criminal justice administration implementation. But one way or the other, our focus has always been on the judges or the court, because they are the final arbiter, they are the one that will give the ruling. And most times we always accuse them, okay, because of money at exchange and they don't give good judgment. It's a judgment that's being
even delay of all these cases is also miscarriage of also leads to miscarriage of justice.
Now each of these components have their own fault. The court has its fault. The police have their own fault. The overcrowded of the prison that we have today is the fault of the police. It's not the fault of the court. That's one. Then the dilapidated situation of the prison today is as a result of the prison correctional management, which is Ministry of Interior. Then the challenge that we are having in the entire general society is as a result of the laxity on the part of the society, Nigerian society, whereby we have now ranked criminal activities, either soft criminal activity or hard criminal activity, as a way of life. For instance, now people don't see corruption in government circulars anything anymore. And the moment you are appointed into government, you're supposed to go into chop and claim out. And these are the things that when you now go to the court for you to have judgment, the technicality of the case through the lawyers and the rest of them will give you a soft landing. Meanwhile, a poor man that stole slipper will go for the long years in prison. So we must be able to rearrange our criminal justice system, not focusing on the court alone, but focusing on the
cases too is also very vital.
Very important.
But there are so many backlog of cases that you talk about prison congestion, and most of them, those prison congestion is awaiting trial. At least 80% of them.
Another component that you mentioned is the state government, because most of the cases of awaiting trial comes from the state government. Federal government cases don't linger that much from all investigation. But state government, because state government are not ready to spend money on the court, or they are not ready to spend money on any issue of judgment. So most of the awaiting trial that you see from state now come to the federal court, and before you know, the judge may be so overwhelmed with cases that he has to treat, and some of them are aging. As a result of we are not appointing younger people into the court system or into the bench. We are still appointing elderly people. So that also gives us a problem. So I wish we can have an holistic look on all these components, not just focusing on the court. Because when we focus on the court, we leave out the rest people who are causing problems. The prison that is dilapidated is as a result of prison management. The police that are also always bringing people to court when they know they don't have the fight charges, they don't have the right prosecution lawyers or police officers that are loyal to help them. So it's also there, and the society at large also contributes. And not to forget, state government are not ready to spend money on the judiciary, also contributing to this problem that we are having in our court system.
What is the way forward?
And the way forward is simply, we are going to do a review of the administrative system, court administrative system in Nigeria. But it also boils down to, it is not just the funding that is the problem. The ability to apply and practice and also implement some of the policy will go a long way. Most times when we inject law into the society, we are not ready to implement the law because there is a certain interest also play out. For instance, a lot of people have talked about the corruption cases in Nigeria, that we should have a special court for corruption cases, particularly financial corruption cases against the elites in our society, so that we can reduce the burden on the normal court. But a lot of people say, no, we don't need that justification of this, we don't want to fund. But people have suggested it will also help us to be able to fast track some of those judgments and also have opportunity to relieve the judges and give them opportunity. The same thing with the election tribunal cases and the rest of it. Because at the end of the day, once election comes now, most of the judges will be occupied with election cases. They will forget the other cases that we're supposed to attend to. So we must all look holistically around some of these issues going forward.
Thank you so much. Now, there's also an issue that the CBN raised, that there's so much money in circulation. I saw it in one of the headline stories. What could be responsible for that?
I think when we talk about money, too much money in circulation, it goes back to the report that the NBS just released, the GDP that rose by 3.19%. In that GDP report, we are made to know that over 18 trillion was transacted within the period of this second quarter that we did. It means that a lot of money is invested, and we won't blame Nigerians because now people are spending much. And the reason why people are spending much because the value of the naira has reduced. So if you owe 1,000 naira,
the currency in circulation is 4 trillion naira. Defies CBN's monetary tightening measures.
Definitely it will, because a lot of people are spending money. People are spending as much as what they want to get. If people collect, at least from yesterday, from 2 days back, people have started collecting salary.
You always talked about reversal of policies because during that at the few months after the Naira resignation by CBN, because Emefiele came out to say that the money circulation has reduced drastically in that period, and now we are seeing a situation whereby the money, it has increased now to over 4 trillion naira.
Because people are spending. What you will spend 1,000 naira for 2 years ago, you are spending 5,000 naira for it. What you will spend 10,000 naira for 3 years ago, you are spending 25,000. So the volume of the money that people, the volume of the cash they are collecting from bank, either by transaction online or whatever, is increasing as a result of the devaluation of the currency and the purchasing power of people have been. So CBN should expect this to happen. It's not because people are going somewhere to go and bring their money. No, it is because the value have changed. So they are spending more. Something of 10 naira yesterday is now 15 naira. So what do you expect? By the time you put all the calculation of what people are spending together, you get the volume of what CBN saying.
Yesterday there was a report that deposits that attract interest
rate because they want to encourage people to bring in their money back, but people are not taking.
Then because of this inflation, how do you know?
How would they expect people to take their money? That's why I'm saying that people are spending much. It is the spending power of people that is making this volume of too much of currency in circulation. And now the new law that introduced that people should bring their money to bank, it will know what people are spending. If you get to the bank and say, okay, I'm taking 20,000 naira to my bank tomorrow, and you discover you have a need of 10,000. By the time you go to the bank, it is 15,000. So that 20,000 you want to take to the bank will be reduced by 5,000 or by another 10,000. So what do you expect? So the issue still boils down that people need to understand that because of the devaluation of the currency, technically, as a result of them selling bonds paper, selling treasury paper, people are now is losing value, and they are looking for more dollars so that to back up the dependency economy that we have of importation. Because the more importation that we are doing in our economy, the more value, the more dollar that CBN will be looking, and the more means whereby they will also be looking for more dollar to come in. And what do? They will continue to devalue the currency so that it can attract more naira, and that more naira will help them to be able to safeguard the external reserve. We must understand this. It's just that if we explain this from a critical economic perspective, they will think they were against the government policy. But that is the fact, and that's what is happening.
Now, whistleblowing policy is back. We read the report yesterday that Tinubu represented B to National Assembly. What happened in the first place? Because we had it at the beginning, and later it suffered. We even had reports of a whistleblower being arrested
and even charging government to court. He charged the government to court. He was not paying the amount he was supposed to be paid. He helped government to recover billions of naira. And when the government heard that it's going to be paid 6% of that billion, the official or the government official was like, so this man will become millionaire overnight. So they got angry and they began to torment the man. And the man took government to court. That's what it's. I think the case is still in court. But for the President Tinubu, I think he wants to revive that policy. He wants to make it more friendly in a way that it won't be this hard to implement. Because what we experienced on that boy was that it was going to be very hard because there was no oath taken by a government official who is going to investigate that issue. And then there is no protection for the whistleblower, and that's why that man went to court. And he was exposed to the public that this is the person that wants to.
And we're actually seeing cases of corruption being
being prosecuted. Although it was prosecuted on when you are out of the office.
Yes.
But when you are still in the office,
former NNPC. Although at the end of the day,
they went for plain bargain.
Exactly. Now, talking about this wasting, as we are talking about this whistleblowing policy, there was a report. What happened to Obaze report?
Obaze report is still there. That's what the EFCC is using against Emefiele.
But apart from Emefiele, there were also some other investigations carried out.
Exactly, but the issue
has not seen
that because the EFCC is still mirroring their case or they are fighting against Emefiele after DSS have done their own part. EFCC is now doing the rest part. But we just expect them to encourage them and call that the other people that were involved in this issue, can you bring them out? Like one of the star witnesses in court said that Emefiele company did not benefit from, is it his wife or did not benefit from those procurement? Get it? But many of us are still here to believe that because how would it not be that? Because we know that they are spending so much money, they were investing money in politicians, they were investing money in elections that they want to go and contest for president. So where did they get all this money? Even Nigerian Rice Farmers Association need to be bringing into the picture of this particular election.
Because they bought a
fund for him. So where did they get the money to buy the fund for him? That's why people are saying that the Anko borrowers money, why government cannot recover that money was because a lot of people play politics with that money in terms of inflation. But for the rest of the people that are also involved in this part or indicted, according to the Obaze report, they should be brought out. We don't want them to be pardoned. Or as they normally say, maybe they are friends and associates of the government of the day. So they don't want to expose them because it also brings an indictment on people in government. Because that could be the reason why they don't want to bring them to court or charge them.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Now, just before we go, we also had a committee or a panel set up by President Tinubu at the onset of his administration over these uniform taxes with ratification of taxes.
Exactly.
What happened?
They
suddenly went cold.
No, they have not gone cold. I am one of the people that followed their meetings and so on. They have come out with the resolutions. One of the resolutions they come out was that VAT, for instance, the sharing formula of VAT should change. Federal government should be collecting 10%, where the rest, the subnational state and the government should be sharing 90%. Although it has not yet been put into place. And again, as we speak right now, there is already a memo to National Assembly, a draft memo to National Assembly to look at some of those resolutions that the committee have given to the government. But just that there are other issues that many of us are not comfortable with, like the harmonization of these taxes, whether it's going to be a uniform one for the entire national or just for federal government taxes. But we are meant to understand that it is just for federal government taxes. And there are about 9 of them. But even with these 9 that we are seeing, some other taxes are coming up. Fees and charges are also coming up that government is introducing one way or the other through their MDAs, through their institutional agencies. They also want them to look at. But they look at the major taxes, the 9 of them. VAT, very importantly, look at VAT. And also look at how they can ensure that the transparency in ensuring that this money go into government coffer is also put in place. I think those are the things that the committee.
And there were also issues raised a few months ago, which the federal government just ignored. The fact that most of these agencies that are collecting taxes, they actually take a huge chunk of it as their own.
I think you see what happened in the aviation industry last week.
Like FROS, customs.
Exactly. Like FRS take 4% of whatever total they collect.
I think the money was even tabulated.
It's very huge. Although they will tell you that they engage a lot of individuals, they engage a lot of consultants to get the money into the coffer. Although the law also stipulated the 4% for them. The act has already stipulated 4% for them. Whether by the time they collect 1 trillion, you know what 4% of 1 trillion will mean. So either they collect 1 trillion from every agency they are collecting, so they will be collecting 4%. So that's what we have. Whether it could just be a singular 1 trillion, 4% on the entire money they collected, or they are doing it in a way that, because what people are complaining is that they are getting so much money for themselves as a tax collector. So how come? So maybe the 4% is on each of the money they are collecting. When custom bring their own, they remove 4%. When other agencies bring their own, they remove 4%. Maybe that's what is giving them so much of the money. But what I'm saying is, let us see an harmonization. I think that's what the committee also putting in place to ensure that this really works. And the committee is not looking at taxing; they're also looking at fiscal policy of government. How government can make sure that this money is distributed in a way for the environmental purpose.
Wow, thank you so much, Olamileko Adefolari. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program. Like I always say, you are so informative. Well, viewers, you heard it from our political economist and a public affairs analyst, Olamileko Adefolari, our Thursday guest on the site of Inside Nigeria, your breakfast on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ogogo. This is where we end today's program. Don't forget to join us for news on the hour on the station. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for what?
Thank you so much.
Sponsorship and advert placements. Please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast.